Plant a tree, watch it grow, and pray it doesn't grow back. I'm Celia, and today on Let's Talk Terror, I'm joined by filmmaker Michael Jayne, and he's here to talk about Arbor Day, the Root of Evil. It's a horror anthology that makes one of the most unexpected holidays into the nightmare of my dreams. Built by 6 directors sharing one connected mythology, this micro-budget film isn't just telling scary stories, it's sowing the seeds for a brand new horror icon. So we're going to be talking about Arbor Day, indie filmmaking, and Michael's personal journey to bringing this creation to screen. So grab a shovel, let's dig in. Okay, hello, Michael. We are
Hello,
here
hello.
today. Yes, we are here today to talk about the very underappreciated holiday that is Arbor Day and the
Right?
horrors. Yes, the horrors that come along with it, because apparently every holiday can be terrifying. But yes, but before we get into it, I would like you to introduce yourself. Who are you? What do you do? Tell me
Sure.
about Arbor Day.
Hi, my name is Michael Jayne. I am a co-owner of Big Damn Films, and we're a independent production and distribution company who we're actually branching out into horror for the first time with Arbor Day, the Root of Evil.
I love that. You're branching out. You came
Yeah.
prepared.
Oh, I am
Here.
fun ready.
Yes, I love it. I love it. So let's just get into it. Why Arbor Day?
To tell you that the answer to that question, I have to go further back. So, the roots of this movie start with me having a stroke, May of 2025. Prior to that, I'd kind of put my film career on hold for about a decade. I'd helped other people write and produce and stuff their movies. But my sophomore, what was supposed to be my sophomore film, we got about 60% through, and then somebody stole all the money.
Oh,
So I spent ethically, I didn't feel like it was a good idea to do something new until we kind of fixed that. So spent a lot of time making sure people got paid back. But then the weekend before my stroke, we were actually looking at a location to finish the movie, uh, which would have been interesting because we would have the same people in the same roles, but 10 years apart.
yeah.
Um, and the location guy was amazing, was like, this is wonderful. And then 2 days later, it's like, I sold the property.
Of course he did. Of
and
course
then
he did.
and the next day I had a stroke. Uh, but
They're
there's
not
a lot.
related at all.
No, I probably, I hope not.
Yeah.
Uh, but from there, I'm going through stroke recovery. It was pretty bad. Like I had to relearn how to talk and use the left side of my features. And I'm one of those people that like I need a goal to look forward to. And my business partner and I were talking at the time the best way I could communicate. Uh, and I'm like, we need to find something creative. Like when you're doing stroke rehab, a lot of the times your speech and physical therapy cap out at about grade 8 or 9 level. And my day job was in marketing, so I had to deal with vendors, I had to deal with creative, I had to deal with, presenting ideas, and speech and physical therapy never really present those opportunities. So we were looking at Tubi and saw thousands of Bigfoot documentaries that are like an hour and a half of some guy talking with AI generated stuff.
Yeah.
and and we're like, we could do that. Like, okay, and I live in New Jersey, which is the weirdest place ever. Like I moved here in 2017. My wife was born and raised here, but I'm like 15 miles from where the Jersey Devil originated, and Friday the 13th was filmed North Jersey. So like Jersey is nothing but horror. So we're like, we got tons to pick from. So we started making a documentary, and then we're like, as I'm getting better and as I'm like, my spirits are up, we're like, why don't we just make up our own? So we made up this folklore about this guy uh, who was an arborist. What we would consider an arborist back then would be a tree surgeon, right? Guys that cut down trees.
Right.
Uh, and we were like, well, what holiday really hasn't had a good like not cheesy slasher, right? Like we found out there is another Arbor Day movie halfway through filming, but that's kind of like slapstick B kind of horror. And we were like, we wanted something that, even though the day, like Friday the 13th and Halloween, on their surface seems silly to make a horror movie out of, we wanted something that had a little bit more concrete underneath.
Right.
So, because my health wasn't able to do a feature, we split it into an anthology. And then we were like, all right, so we were coming up with this idea of an anthology, and then we came up with this idea of a mockumentary about this guy who died or was assumed to murder his kid and a bunch of people on Arbor Day in the 1800s. And here in Mays Landing until 1906, we actually had a hanging tree.
Oh,
So, the idea was that he had his mouth sewn shut and he was hung, and then every third was it third Friday or whatever day Arbor Day falls on,
yeah.
he comes back to his land and kills anybody that's there. So that was going to be the mockumentary, and then we're like, this is too good. Let's just make it a movie. So the movie is set in a campground in Mays Landing, which you could go to, called Winding River Campground. They were really fortunate. We didn't have to change the name or anything. So this guy goes to explore like this legend of this campground that closes every Arbor Day. And then he gets there, and the park ranger has to tells him 5 stories of Arbor Day's past to try to get him to change his mind. And each one is a different director. Each one is a little different flavor. We have like your silly 1970s style slasher. We have your modern cabin in the woods. We have like a really dark story. And we have one that's just a little weird. And those kind of encapsulate like the 5 stories within Arbor Day. And then in true horror movie fashion, the person that's getting warned never listens, and he becomes the 6th story.
Yes. Oh my
Uh,
goodness.
so we filmed it in 8 days at Winding River Campground in October. We are premiering this April 24th at Kevin Smith's Smodcastle Cinemas. And then from there, we're going to kind of snowball out.
I love it. First, let me say I'm glad you're here after
Thank
after
you.
that stroke.
Thank
And
you.
I'm glad you got right back into it making movies. Anthologies are some of my favorite horror movies because they're like I really like shorts. So to
Uh-huh.
me it's just like a movie full of shorts. So it's like, "Oh, yes, I love this so much." Oh, yes. I love Terrifier. I love All Hallows Eve. They're not good, but I love them. I love them. They're the best.
So, so here's the thing. Like, I actually met Damien Leone between Terrifier 1 and 2
Oh, really?
and didn't know anything about Terror. Like, I haven't seen Terrifier 1 until like literally a couple weeks ago. But I had met
Wow.
him through a mutual friend. And then as we were making this, I picked up All Hallows Eve and All Hallows Eve 2, and we're like, all right, we're making basically the Jason Voorhees to Art the Clown's Freddy Krueger.
Yes.
So I kind of wanted to get a sense of what they're doing. Yeah, and you're right, they're not good,
They're not good.
but they're
There's levels because I will say I All Hallows Eve is not good. All Hallows Eve 2 is even worse. I did like Terrifier. No, I know a lot of people don't like it, but it's like I liked it. It went up from there.
no. Every like to his credit, every movie since that one has gone up. Right.
Yes.
The way I look at it is that uh, All Hallows Eve was really like his idea of just putting shorts together, and then he did the tropey look we found a VHS tape,
Yeah.
right? And that's kind of like everything we wanted to stay away from. So ours is like a told anthology, like more like Tales from the Crypty instead of,
Right.
I found a VHS tape that just magically plays. Um, but then looking at it, like as he got to Terrifier 2, right, the story wasn't great, but you could see the basis of what Terrifier 2 and 3 became.
Yes. Yes.
And I'm here for it. I am sad we're stopping at 4. Uh,
I mean, maybe it'll be a good thing. I don't want anyone to get too tired of art. I don't want it to
right.
get watered down. So
We
maybe
don't
it's a
need
good
art in
thing.
space.
Oh yeah, we don't need art in space. Well, I'm it's interesting you talking about you didn't want to go like, oh, we found a VHS tape angle. I'm glad you're not because at this point,
Thank you.
even though I love anthologies, it's like, all right, guys, not everyone has a VCR. I do, but not everyone does. So why would people, Gen Z would not know what to do with this piece of equipment. So like
Right.
we can stop that and move
Right.
on to something else. So I appreciate the like told story aspect of it.
Yeah, I mean, after Undertone came out, I'm waiting for this person to do the horror anthology that was like on a found iPod shuffle.
Yes.
like the next slightly technological advancement. But yeah, I mean, so and that's kind of where there's been so many of those.
Yeah.
Whether it's a VHS, it's always seems to be a VHS tape. Um, we wanted to take the audience for an experience in the sense of like we know what this movie is. So the guy that's trying to get in and the narrator who is the park ranger telling the stories, they have running commentary between each one. And like the driver, the guy trying to get in is really like the audience's way in. So he acknowledges some of the silliness. He
Hmm.
acknowledges you know, this sounds like horror movies in the past until we get further into the movie. So it is absolutely one of those like we know what we are. We're not trying to hide it. We just want you to have some fun. And yeah, you don't have to worry about what technology, you know, fits where. It's just sitting down and listen to stories.
So, besides the actual holiday itself, and besides how the story progresses through spoken word, what makes this movie stand out amongst other holiday movies? Because we've got evil Santas. That's a whole trope now. We've got evil Easter bunnies too. I just
Yeah,
did a
yeah, yeah,
review
yeah.
on one of those. We have pumpkin monsters. There's a monster for every holiday. What is so special about this big bad?
That he's not those. So we really wanted to lean into like when you think of Friday the 13th, you don't think of a woman murdering campground or, you know, campers
You're
or a
right.
tall guy in a mask. When you think of Halloween, like now that we have trick and treat or trick or treat, you do have Sam, which is more Halloween based. But
Yeah.
like Michael Myers himself is only parallel to the holiday because of he's wearing a mask on the holiday. And that's kind of where our arborist is. The arborist is just what they call him because people don't know what the name. Like we have a full backstory that if this continues to do well, like we want to go down that route. But our arborist is more like in the vein of Michael Myers or Jason Voorhees
Okay.
than Pumpkinhead or any of those like clearly pulling out of the holiday kind of a thing. And it
Okay.
just happens to be that this is the Arbor Day is the day that everything happens on.
Arbor Day, The Root of Evil. It's an anthology. There's six
Yeah.
directors. They each tell a story within the same world. How did you make sure that everything felt connected? Because a lot of times, like I like to think of an anthology like the ABCs of Death. That's
Mhm.
26 different directors, and they are all vastly different. So, which is fine for a movie
Yeah.
like that. But this one, it's like you kind of need all of the movies to mesh somewhat.
Yeah.
How when making this, how did you get all of those ideas to like blend together into one cohesive movie?
That's a great question because that was something we really took some time to think about. Like when I'm looking at All Hallows Eve or any other anthology, or you know, even when they have 27 different directors, you're right. There's this weird either you know with All Hallows Eve, it's like different shorts filmed at different times, and you could see that there are different qualities in between
Yeah.
all of them. So the core of decision that we made, and we created a Bible for this for all of the directors, is there was one DP for the whole thing, there was one makeup artist for the whole thing, one camera person for the whole thing, the same bad guy all the way through, who his look did not change. So production wise, everything stayed the same. So the quality was the same all the way across. So, and if you've seen our most recent trailer, like that is the quality all the way through. Um, what the directors had is that we had each director treat it like a 48-hour film festival where the first day you film. So we're like, it had to be something you could film in a day. You had to cap it at 10 minutes. Some of them went above and some went below. Um, and you had to put your personal spin on it, but we take care of the production team so we can make sure everything's consistent and cohesive. Because you're watching a movie that's supposed to be in the guy's imagination that's being told the stories, and having them to being too disparate kind of takes me out of watching anthologies. And I wanted something that could feel like an overarching story, because I miss those like Tales from the Crypt and Creep
Yeah.
Show, and where they're all the same quality and you feel like you're watching like a comic book.
I like that you have this whole Bible with it. That's
Yeah.
that's a great idea. And to have the same kind of people working behind the scenes all throughout. And
Mhm.
I'm sure I could tell in that latest trailer that it indeed was very cohesive. So congrats on
Thank you.
that. Even before seeing the movie, you can tell by the trailer, which also great trailer. I
Thank you.
Trailers are so hard because you could I don't know, it's just sometimes you see a trailer and it's like I love this, but then the movie is not that. It's like
Oh, I hate
edited
that.
weird, it's cut funny. I'm kind of having that issue with Lee Cronin's The Mummy right now. When the
Right?
first trailer came out at the beginning of the year, I was like, I'm gonna be the first one in the seat for this. And then they set out a trailer a couple of weeks ago with the little girl is like talking in it, and it's like, man,
Uh-huh.
it's not scary anymore. Can you not show me that? I'm seeing it in 2 days, so like it better be good. Say.
I'm with you. I hope it's good. Like I feel so bad because like those Universal classic monsters are always
Yes.
like a big tug at my heartstrings
Same,
for
same.
nostalgia.
I love Universal Monsters.
And I hope this is not just, creepy kid movie, but we're calling it The Mummy,
I
right?
know. Oh my God.
Um,
Fingers crossed.
but yeah, so as I am, not just one of the writers and co-creators of the movie, I'm the editor. And when I was making the trailer, I wanted to be like, all right, I need to convey the different stories. I needed to tell you what you're getting into. But I also hate those trailers that show you the best of everything. And I wanted you to get a sense of the overarching, there is a singular bad guy. I wanted to get you in immediately so you knew what it was, which is like, I have to listen to 5 stories. And then I only showed you like 3 seconds of each story with no context. And then for the humor bit at the end of it, I actually pulled like a short segment from one of the shorts where the guy's like, what do you think is going to happen? It's going to turn midnight. Some zombie gardener is going to come out. Like, and then we have the big stinger of it's actually like brutal. So I also did it that way because you can pull any one of those little bits out and do like a 5 minute or 5 second like trailer. Because
Yeah.
I know with today's audiences, like you've got to get their attention. And I turned 50 this year, so as a Gen Xer, like I like the long story trailers, but I know that that's not everybody's vibe.
I totally get that. I'm a millennial. I'm not a Gen Z. So
It's okay.
yes, I can stand the longer trailers. I do like the shorter ones, but I can stand the longer ones as well.
Yeah, my wife's a millennial as well. She's like, all right, you almost lost me, but you kept me. Good.
Yes, yes. Can you give us a little bit of insight into the different stories that we might see? You don't have to give too much. I don't want you to
Sure.
give too much, but just like a little bit of what we might see.
Absolutely. Um, so as I said, there's 5 different stories, and they're all different within a 10-year period of Arbor Days. Um, one is really difficult for me to tell you about because
Okay.
it gives away the story, but it's basically an older couple and their bickering spills into Arbor Day, and that's festooning, and that's by a first-time writer director, Brooke Malkins. And then the second one is called Head Plant, which is basically this hippie chick's trying to get the park opened on Arbor Day because people should be amongst the trees. And in classic 80s trope style, she gets like chased by these 3 creepy guys
Of course she does.
and wackiness ensues. Followed by that is, and that was by Carrie Lyons. She's also a first time filmmaker, first time writer director for an anthology. The next after that is with by Joe Raffa, who his story is about two brothers who couldn't be more different, and it's um, that one's like the journey of the movie is like we give you a weird one with the first one, then we give you some humor with the second, and the third goes to kind of a dark place because it deals with family grief. Then we go to the fourth one, which is John Johnson's, which is a quartet of screams. That is your classic cabin in the woods style, 420 somethings go into the woods and wackiness ensues.
Ooh, okay.
And then the last story of the ones that are being told is by Justin Tim Payne. And that is one that is going to hit really hard because it's more about like a rape survivor taking revenge on a rapist. And then the last story is really the guy who's been told all of these stories of people dying over the last decade or so, breaks in and decides he's going to go explore on his own and prove everybody wrong.
I gotta hug the trees. I
Not
gotta
even
make sure
that.
the trees.
He's like he's one of those like everybody, like somebody denies and doesn't believe that Bigfoot is real or doesn't believe that the devil, the Jersey Devil's real or any of those things. So he's like, you've been scaring me. There's also an underlying story throughout this whole thing that we're not even talking about. Like you have to see the movie to get that, because once you see it, it shifts the movie into a place of like, oh shit, are they going to do it?
Oh, so this sounds like it'll have some really good rewatchability here.
Not just rewatchability, but we're going to either really upset people with the last story, or people are going to be like, holy shit, they did it.
Oh, you gotta leave a lasting impression. So I mean, I
Yeah.
would say either way is good.
Yeah. And this is going to be one of those things that, in all honesty, that once we premiere it and we show it, it's definitely going to have that kind of Marvel don't spoil the ending kind of a thing until we hit to like DVD and Blu-ray and stuff.
Now, earlier you mentioned some first-time writers, directors, all that jazz.
Mhm.
And that brings us right into the next section of questions, which is about indie filmmaking. I've heard that this was made on a tight budget. How do you divide that amongst six stories?
Like I said, when this project first started, we were really treating it as like a 48-hour film festival type thing. We were treating it like a 48-hour film festival, and those you don't really have a budget, right? Like our horror is like the classic stuff where it happens just off screen or you see the aftermath of it. But leading into modern technology with movies like Undertone, like what you don't see, you're going to hear, and it's going to be fucking gross.
Yeah.
Right. So like I want your imagination to do more than we could afford to put on screen. But the way we did it is that we gave a flat rate for everybody, like whether you're a crew, actor, whatever. We kept it tight so that no story could have more than four people that were in it besides our bad guy, which kept our budget low. So some stories have two, some have four, some have three. And I was really transparent with everybody that like this is ultra low budget. Like this is my wanting to get back to filmmaking project, not my I'm trying to like introduce my name to the world with the biggest budget possible.
Right.
So we came in just under $60,000, and every penny of that is on the screen in one version of another, whether it is the props, the makeup, the location, or the sound and the color.
Did you have any kind of special challenges when filming this? Like, oh man, we really want to do this, but the money is not there. We're gonna have to
Uh,
figure out something else.
that is the story of this entire project. So I was just texting honestly with our action and stunt coordinator. So we had somebody on set just to make sure everybody was safe.
Right.
Um, every time we've had a situation like we think we're going great, like something happens. And this has been indie filmmaking 101. Like come up with a plan, be ready for the plan, throw it all away, right? Because it's not going to go that way. We started out with a first AD in pre-production. He got picked up for a major project in Spain. So 20 or 48 hours before filming, we got our new first AD. You know, our initial stunt coordinator was SAG, and we're going along, and we're like, we have one SAG stunt coordinator and two SAG actors, and SAG's like, great, we're now going to make you pay over a quarter of your budget just to have in savings, uh, and you have to give it all back, and we'll give it all back at the end. And I'm like, if we're going to put that much money into an account, like, we're going to put it in the movie. So we had to part ways with SAG. So again, 24 hours later, we got a new guy. That also meant we like had to replace new actors. And then just recently on the post-production side, our original composer and sound designer lives in Hawaii. And just at the time we're supposed to relaunch our official trailer, he gets hit with major storms and completely destroys his studio. So like every step along the way, it is a matter of pivoting, finding, you know, the right people, trusting your team, and just working through all of those objections creatively.
Oh my goodness. Well, at least it wasn't another stroke.
Right?
It's just a story of indie filmmaking. You guys always seem to make it work, and it always turns out fantastic. Uh, yeah, it just you would never know. Half the time, it's like the stories I hear coming out of, oh my goodness, we did this, and then like I'm just making this up. Like someone died, and like whatever. It's like
Oh yeah.
you would never know. Like you guys really really covered that up great.
Oh, the beautiful thing about it is, and this is what I remembered I loved about it, is that it is controlled chaos.
Yes.
Right. Like, and I have friends that work in the industry and they have multi-million dollar budgets or they're on TV shows, and it's the same thing, just with a bigger budget and bigger stars. Um, and that to me is what really separates like Hollywood from indie, is just the amount of money that you have available. Right. If somebody came up and was like, I'll give you a couple $1 million to make Arbor Day, we would have made the same movie. It would have just looked different. And we would have had a bigger crew because we had to do, you know, union and scale and all of these other things. And we paid pretty close to it. But like, you know, that was one of the challenges that we had, is that when SAG comes along, just to hire one person, your entire budget inflates by a quarter or a third. That's a lot of times why you see these indie films with non-union people, because it's just too expensive to bring somebody in, even though they may only be doing one day's worth of work.
Now, I think a big difference is also the creativity. You get a lot more leeway doing something yourself than you
Oh
would
yeah.
a lot of times with a big old production company.
Yeah.
And you mentioned that even though you guys have a smaller budget, you're not going to skimp out on creativity, effects, that sort of thing.
Right.
Can you tell me a little bit more about the effects that we might see?
This movie is 100% practical.
Yes.
So we are, I think, the only thing that would qualify as CGI are our opening credits where like the names pop up.
That doesn't count.
No, I know, but like it's computer generated image, so that's technically CGI. But yeah, everything's 100% practical. Everything's on the screen. I mean, a lot of the kills are going to happen off screen and such. But yeah, we're not. There's no CGI blood. There's no CGI monsters. There's no like. I don't know how to say it. Like, it's one of those things where it's like if we could sacrifice quality to put it on the screen, we saved it and made it something off screen. Like I saw
Okay.
a trailer recently that's just guy gets his head ripped off, and you could like I'm like, oh, I saw that in Spirit Halloween, right? Like you
Okay.
could tell the quality.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm not Damien Leone. I'm not trying to be a special effects artist. I just want to tell stories. So we focused more on the stories than the gore.
Do you have a favorite kill that you could share? If it's gonna give anything away, I don't want to hear it. You could just tell
Honestly,
me yes or no.
no. I'll preface my all-time favorite kill is the one I can't talk about.
Okay.
But my second favorite kill, can I talk about that?
It's okay if you can't. I won't be
Oh no,
mad.
no, no. I'm trying to. There's like we have 13 kills, so it's like I have to pick my favorite. Uh, yeah, my my favorite kill is actually in Carrie's story. So behind me is my movie Browncoat's Redemption. It's the first movie I ever made. It's a Firefly fan film. We got Joss Whedon's blessing. We have some of the cast and crew in it. But one of my actors, Kevin Troy, came back and is in Arbor Day, and he gets killed. Um, and he gets decapitated. And the way that he gets decapitated, and the head falls at the feet of the two other guys, and their reaction to that is just so funny as shit. That is my favorite kill, just because a I get to have a friend that was my one of my first movie, and then b like it is a full cartoon moment.
I love it. I'll have to look out for that one.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate it.
And I will try to guess what your favorite is after I see
Oh, you're gonna
it.
know.
Oh, okay, okay. We'll have to see about that.
But there's also a story as to why it's my favorite, so that'll bring me back next time after the movie's on.
All right. So Arbor Day, The Root of Evil is set to premiere on Arbor Day,
Mhm.
obviously. But actually not obviously, because there are movies like Terrifier 3 that's a Christmas movie. It came out in October. So how important was it for you to have it come out on Arbor Day?
uh Pretty important for two reasons. Actually three. One, I am a huge, like, I love puns. I also like, schlocky marketing stuff.
Yeah,
So having, Halloween come out on Halloween, or Star Wars come out on May the 4th, like that stuff just tickles me. So having a movie called Arbor Day, The Root of Evil coming out on Arbor Day was one, fun, two, a deadline, because it made us have something to work towards. Like everybody
good
knew what the
point.
goal is.
Yeah,
Like we even booked the theater before we finished the movie. And then three, it just ties in because we also have a charity component to this.
yes.
So for every ticket sold to a showing of it in a theater, for every physical media, a Blu-ray or DVD, um, supports the Arbor Day Foundation, and for each one of those, a tree will be planted. And that means we're potentially like replanting a whole forest for the arborist to come back in Arbor Day too.
I'm glad you brought that up because I was going to ask about that. So thank you. Everyone
Yeah.
go support Arbor Day at some point, and you're also supporting the planet. Please do.
Yeah.
So with your plans for theatrical screenings, convention streaming, all the things,
Mhm.
what kind of audience experience do you hope everyone gets out of this? Are
I
we
hope they
looking
just
for
have.
at a fun popcorn movie? Are we looking to be scared?
You know what? I think it's going to be a fun popcorn movie, and the reason I say that is my wife is not a horror girly. Like when I want to watch Terrifier or anything that is above the Megan movies, or like theatrical Megan and theatrical Five Nights at Freddy's are about her cap, right?
Ah,
So that
okay.
tells you where she's at. When I want to go watch like Terrifier movies or any of that kind of stuff, I have to do it by myself or with friends. So I wanted to make a horror movie that she would watch. So our our violence is a little bit above those, just because of a little bit of the brutality and the intent behind the kills. But yeah, I mean, if you are somebody that it borderlines on being a PG-13 horror movie, but it's not because of the language.
Right.
So, and then the subject material throughout. But yeah, I mean, I wanted to make a movie that my wife could watch, and uh, her watching the process and knowing she knows when the surprises are coming, and she can still watch it. And I got the best review I'll ever need on this movie because she's also a producer on it. She's like, "I'm impressed. I'm not embarrassed to put my name on this." And I'm like, "We got to put that on the poster."
Yes. Please. Oh my God, that would be the best thing ever. Please put that on there.
Yeah. So the thing we're looking for is just fun and experience. Like We're not looking to shake anybody's tree of like trying to make this the best thing ever. We're hoping that we've done well enough that people want to see another one. But I will tell you that my main goal is that in your 79-minute experience, you don't get bored. And that is
I
my big goal.
there is nothing wrong with a popcorn movie at all, especially in horror. It's
Right.
nice sometimes because you could get so like worn down with this ultra violence, ultra gore.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you just want to sit there and laugh
Yeah.
and still have it be a horror movie. Because like for me, it's like I do not watch anything else unless I have to. Unless I have to. So like it's it's nice to have levels of horror that you can enjoy.
Yeah. For me, this is what I would like. If you want to get somebody into horror, start with a movie like ours, right? Like there's some scares, there's some gore, there's some violence, there's some like weird shit that happens, but ultimately, like you're not taking somebody into like Saw 4, right? Like
Right.
you're not taking somebody into like the torture porn of Hostel.
Yeah.
You're really taking somebody into just have fun getting scared for a little bit.
You mean you don't want to throw them in the deep end?
Well, that's what like the third and fourth movie will be.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because that brings us to our next question.
Yeah.
What comes after this? Are we staying in the anthology realm? Are we, I don't know, expanding one story in particular? What's happening?
So we've already got Arbor Day 2 planned.
Awesome.
Um, and I it will still be an anthology thing because one of the things Logan, my business partner, and I wanted to do with this is we wanted to give first time filmmakers an opportunity. We also wanted to give people that, you know, are known but not like widely known. Like John
Right.
Johnson is one of our directors. He did Plan 9, the remake of Plan 9 from Outer Space. Justin Tim Payne did the Ninjas Verse series, so like Ninjas versus monsters, vampires, and all of that. Like, so in like the subculture worlds of their genres, they're widely known, but they're not like mainstream.
Right.
So we want to give like those voices an opportunity, right? I am always an advocate of like, as long as you have a good story and as long as you're willing to work with the team, everybody should get an opportunity. So yeah, I mean, we have it'll be kind of the same format where it's like somebody being told stories, but the overall narrative will be different, and the way that the stories are linked together will be different. But
Okay.
it'll all be around the arborist.
All right.
What we're trying to avoid is like Blair Witch 2.
Oh,
Like,
yes. Yeah. But
yeah.
let's not do that.
But we do have plans that like one day, if we can get to a third, that maybe somebody finds a way to release the arborist onto the world. Maybe our arborist could meet face to face with Art the Clown or another like horror genre legend, and we could have one of those like cinematic fights like Freddy vs. Jason, but for a modern era.
That's when the VHS tape comes in.
No.
No. Well, you just sit on it. Think about it. We've got some time.
You know what I'm going to do for you because we had this conversation? I'm going to write this down. We're addressing the VHS issue in the next movie. All right. Yeah.
Please,
Done.
please do. Where can we see it? When can we
Sure.
see it? This video actually will be out on the 25th, so a day after. So by the time this comes out, it will have screened already.
Thank you for that because we have a bit of news and I'm glad it's the 25th because if it was before, I can't tell you.
Okay.
Um, we have our premiere on April 24th at Smodcastle Cinemas, and immediately the next day we go into a 1 week theatrical run at Smodcastle.
Awesome.
Um, from there, what we're going to be doing is trying to find theaters that'll take it. Like one of the challenges is that this is an indie movie. There's no big stars. There's no big directors. Much like Paranormal Activity when it first came out, like nobody knew what it was.
Right.
So we're really going to need, our cultivators is what we're calling them, to stay with the tree pun, to tell us where they are and if they want to go see the movie, and we'll bring it to them. So if you go to the arbordaymovie.com at the bottom, there's a email and zip code or email and state. And if we can get enough people in an area, we will bring Arbor Day wherever we go. And I'm happy to go wherever anybody wants to go with it. And then maybe one day towards the Halloween area, we might do a more dedicated theatrical run. But we really want this first run to be focused on the charity aspect, which means, we're going to go state to state, theater to theater, have an experience. Everything will be a showing of the movie, a Q&A afterwards. There'll be a VIP experience. So, for example, everybody that attends Arbor Day, The Root of Evil at Smod Castle Cinema's premiere gets a VIP ticket, which there's only 20 of. They're actually getting an axe, just like the one we use in the movie,
Oh,
and it'll
cool.
have Arbor Day, The Root of Evil, world premiere, Smod Castle Cinemas. We're not probably not going to do that for every single one, but yeah, I mean, we wanted to have an experience that people go to the movies. We know it's an expensive thing to go to the movies nowadays, so we wanted to give you more than just a movie. So you're getting a movie, you're getting a Q&A, you're getting the chance to, if you're an indie filmmaker or wanting to come in, like I like to tell people stories, so you can come in and have that experience. With the premiere, the biggest thing that we wanted to do is just appreciate the casting crew. And from here on out, every time we go somewhere with it, it won't just be me and Logan. Like if we go to Charlottesville, which is John Johnson's hometown, we're going to put the spotlight on him. If we go to Bethesda, which is Brooke Malkin's hometown, we're going to put the spotlight on her. If we go to Los Angeles, where Joe Raffa is, like each time we're somewhere where one of the cast or crew will be, the spotlight will be on them for whatever that showing is. That way we can kind of keep that experience going all the way through. Sure.
So, for people who aren't able to be in the theaters but still want to support Arbor Day, uh, what is the physical and streaming situation looking like?
Absolutely. So we're the distributor, which means we control when everything goes out. Now, when it comes to streaming, ultimately that's their decision which platforms it go on. But we'll be submitting it to everybody. But we do have a 1-year plan. So for the first 2 to 3 months, we're going to do theatrical road shows, taking it to wherever, it will have us, and you may not be in a state where people would want to come to, but people that will. So if you have a huge Virginia contingency of people, be like, hey guys, everybody go to Arbor Day or the Arbor Day movie, put in the zip code, and we'll get there. Secret, we're already talking to Alamo Draft House.
Yes.
So from there, after that 2 to 3 month window, because we want to use that to really be the charity driver, we'll do limited, you're not limited, but we'll start to physical media. And that would be around June. And we'll do a pre-order run of Blu-rays and DVDs. We might do a limited edition vinyl of the score because I like old school stuff. And then we'll aim for everything to be on streaming by the end of September, just in time for Halloween. But through
Okay.
that whole thing, we're going to horror conventions. We're going to, one of the things we're trying to coordinate is that if there is a horror convention, that we will set up a screening and they just make it part of their evening programming. So then we just kind of tie into all of that.
Have you already started planning for like what conventions you're reaching out to?
Yeah, so we've reached out to NJ Horror Con. We've reached out to, I think, a new convention is like Twisted Con. We're going down the list. But it's
Okay.
one of those things that, like, everybody wants to see how well the premiere does.
All right. Any last thing before I set this recording off?
Go to the arbordaymovie.com, watch the trailer, put your name in, become a cultivator, and support independent film.
A huge thank you to Michael for coming to talk to us and giving us a brand new horror holiday. If you want to see Arbor Day, The Root of Evil, just check the description. I'll leave everything below. I highly recommend watching it. It's not only a really cool premise, but it's an anthology, which is my favorite, but it's also for a really good cause. If you like this video, like, subscribe, do all the things, leave a comment. I love those. And remember that some things buried in the earth are best left there. Stay spooky, and I'll see you next time.